Thank you for staying for the news. And in our first story, we focus on the economy. And Ghana is being cited as a classic example of a badly run African economy with lessons for the rest of the continent on how not to run an economy. Head of Political Affairs at Joy News, Evans Mensah, has been in Rwanda these last few days as guest of President Paul Kagame's governing party as they mark their 35th anniversary. He reports that Ghana is getting some attention, but for all the wrong reasons, from international experts discussing African policy at the governing party's international conference. There's more in this report.
A succinct diagnosis of the African challenge by President Paul Kagame. Under President Kagame, Rwanda has risen from a country ravaged by genocide when 800,000 people were slaughtered just 29 years ago to become a country now ranked first on the continent and amongst the top 10 fastest growing economies in the world, pre and post COVID-19, according to the African Development Bank. His Rwandan Patriotic Front Party, RPF, was created by a group of Rwandese in exile who fought to end the genocide. This week, the party turns 35. At an international conference to mark the anniversary, the party focused exclusively on policy and not politics, inviting international experts to discuss the African problem and propose solutions. What was fascinating was how the international panel of experts openly challenged President Kagame at his own party conference in a healthy exchange of ideas. It started when the former president of the African Development Bank, Dr. Donald Kaberuka, suggested that Africa's challenge was mainly failure to properly diagnose our problems and apply the right solutions.
Before you answer how, you have to answer what. And I'm not even sure that you have answered the what. So let me give you an example. So we're now talking about the energy transition, which will depend a lot on a number of minerals. Maybe there are 3 or 4, I think. And are you certain that countries owning those minerals are not going to make the mistake which countries exporting oil and gas have not made? I'm not sure about that. So if we're going to say, this is how we do something, but what are you doing in the first place? So, how do I put this to you? Every single country in Africa I visited, and I visited all of them except one, has a strategy, 30-year strategy, 40-year strategy, all right? You are right, where they fail is on implementation. But often it is because the what itself has not been well thought out. All right? So it is important to answer how, but you must also answer what are you going to do. I'm not certain that in many countries, the what has been answered.
President Kagame, in his front row seat, raised his hand, appealed to speak, and disagreed.
We've been places, all of us, and we've been in search of what is it that we can do in Africa to put the transformation journey on track as we wish to. So actually the problem which Donald talked about also is that implementation. It's actually the main issue. You said that you are not saying that there are no implementation issues. Actually, this is the problem. Forget about the how or the what. The how and the what have been answered by you even now on the sitting there in the panel.
Let's head to Parliament now, and the new chairman of the Muslim Caucus in Parliament is pushing for an urgent passage of a Muslim marriages and divorce law. A few weeks ago, the Registrar General's Department declared about 80% of Muslim marriages invalid because they did not adhere to Ghanaian law. Member of Parliament for Yendi and chair of the Muslim Caucus in Parliament, Farouk Aliu Mahama, says there's an immediate need to pass a legislation that properly protects Muslim marriages. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante now reports.
For 2 years, the Muslim Caucus has been unable to elect a substantive chairman. Within that period, Asawasi MP Muntaka Mubarak acted as chair. But speaking exclusively to Joy News, new chairman Farouk Aliu Mahama outlined what will be the most important items on his agenda as chair of the caucus.
The marriage bill and the divorce bill, even though Muslims are against divorce, but the marriage bill is is an order of priority to me. And I believe that I'm going to liaise up with the leadership of Parliament and the Speaker, and also liaise up with the Attorney General to see where the paper is in the report so that we can quickly lay it and make it relevant, because Muslim marriages are very, very critical. And some issues are there when you die and you take your certificate to show that you've married to a Muslim. It's not recognized in the Constitution of Ghana, and also and it is something that is a sense of a worry. So we're going to constitute a team that is going to come up level-headed people, including the Chief Imam's office and the Ulumas, and you have the Muslim leadership in Ghana to see how best we can pass. And I can assure you that this will be the greatest achievement as the chairman of the caucus.
According to Farouk Aliu Mahama, despite being on different sides of the political divide, Muslim MPs must eschew partisanship and protect Islamic interests.
As a leader, I have had the privilege of having good relationship with my seniors in Parliament, Honorable Adriso, Muntaka, Sohene, Honorable Mutala, ABF Husseini, and all those people are people of respected quality and respected Muslims. What it is that I have a relationship with them, and my philosophy in life is that I'm not taking up this position as a Muslim caucus for the benefit of myself, but we are united. When it comes to Islam, political lines don't come in. When I see my Muslim brother, if you're not even a member of Parliament, I see you as somebody. So I'm inculcating that mindset before even I kickstart my intention to lead the Muslim caucus. I think I come from a very strong Islamic background family, spanning from my paternal, my father's father. He was the Zongona of Yendi, of the traditional capital. My grandfather was the chief of Zongo in Yendi. They call him Zongona Mahama. My maternal grandfather, my mom's father, the late Morigala, was one of the greatest ministers who had come from the Islamic side of the world. Morigala, he was the member of Parliament for the Sisala and became a minister of Trade and Industry, Foreign Affairs. So both my grandfather, my paternal and my maternal, and fortunate to have had a father who was a very strong Muslim.
Farouk Aliu Mahama later met with the Muslim Staff Association of Parliament and promised not to allow the association to be used to push parochial partisan interests.
Fellow brothers and sisters in Islam, I wish to assure you of my commitment to revamp and work hard with you to renew the spirits of the MPs in the activities of the Muslim caucus. I also wish to state emphatically that during this tenure of office, as the chairman of the Muslim caucus, which shall not be used as a vehicle to champion the cause of any politics.
Being the son of the first Muslim vice president in Ghana, Farouk Aliu Mahama has the role cut out for him and will be building on the successes of his predecessors. Reporting for Joy News, Kweku Asante, Parliament House, Accra.
In our next story, the Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Dr. Sir Sam Jonah, wants government to be circumspect in rolling out policies in its quest to revive Ghana's ailing economy. Dr. Jonah concedes that the current times call for tough decisions to be made, but advises that such decisions should be laced with empathy and recourse to the vulnerable population of the country. Speaking at the 55th Congregation of the University of Cape Coast, Dr. Jonah warned that if the situation was not handled well, it could undermine the security and stability of Ghana.
Dr. Jonah noted that the hard time the country is grappling with has brought in its wake hopelessness, particularly among the youth, a development which he says could undermine the security and stability of the country.
The nation are facing unprecedented times against the backdrop of complex, volatile and uncertain economic and geopolitical developments. This situation, Mr. Chairman, has fostered a growing sense of hopelessness and helplessness, particularly amongst our youth, a development which has the potential to undermine the security and stability of our nation. Our economic situation is very, very challenging, to say the least. Interest rates are intolerably high, and a combination of that with high inflation and a volatile currency make for a very dangerous cocktail indeed. As we have been witnessing, there are no pretty policy choices for dealing with this situation. This is not the time for blame gaming. We need to focus in a constructive spirit to get us out of the difficulty we find ourselves in. My humble advice to key policymakers is that the times that we live in call for a very healthy dose of humility in decision making as we navigate the difficult path of economic restructuring.
He indicated that government should be mindful of the decisions it takes in these precarious moments.
Now, the Ministry of Education says it is committed to increasing science, technology, engineering and mathematics education in the country's tertiary schools to bring about the needed development in the country. Speaking at the congregation of the University of Education, Winneba, Education Minister Dr. Yao Osei Educhum noted that the nation's quest for any industrial revolution must be championed by STEM education.
Speaking at the congregation ceremony, the Director of Tertiary Education at the Ministry of Education, Dr. Yaira Jakade, who represents the Minister of Education, indicated that STEM education was crucial to Ghana's development, hence the deliberate effort by government to intensify STEM education beyond book knowledge.
The government, and for that matter, the Ministry of Education, places importance on one of the key areas of modern education, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics STEM. Education, which is the niche area that the University of Education should focus on. So I'm glad to hear that the laboratories have been renovated. The ministry recognizes that presently STEM education cannot be overemphasized as technology is fast taking over daily activities in our homes, schools, institutions, and communities to solve real-world problems, and that education in STEM area is the priority for fast-moving, technologically driven world. STEM education holds numerous prospects and benefits, such as improving science literacy and developing critical thinkers and innovators, which in turn help to sustain the development of economies.
The Vice-Chancellor of the University of Education, Winneba, Professor Mauto Avoke, advised the new graduates to lead a quest for international travel and adventure, or a new educational step, because learning does not stop or slow down after graduation.
Embrace integrity, objectivity, and honesty as your goals. Use your critical thinking and problem-solving abilities. Stand by your well-supported conviction and approach your task with positive outlook. These qualities will set you apart in the environment that you find yourself. As you leave this room today, remember that fresh beginning awaits you. Be the quest for international travel, adventure, or the next educational step. Whichever the way is, remember to keep moving forward without stopping.
The Vice-Chancellor of the university also admonished the new graduates not to undermine head teachers of the various educational institutions or schools they will be posted to just because they have earned a degree. Abdallah Osman's reports read to you.
Now, sexual harassment is one of the menaces bedeviling various universities in Ghana. The situation creates an unsafe environment for females and hinders their academic, physical, and physiological progress. Over 50 participants, through a workshop organized by the Anti-Sexual Harassment Action Project at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, have therefore been tasked to lead campaigns against sexual harassment.
In Ghana are reported to experiencing sexual harassment according to the United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA, in 2018.
At the University of Ghana campus 2020, 60% of female students experience sexual harassment. These alarming statistics has necessitated collective efforts, such including the KNUST anti-sexual harassment policy, to fight against the social menace in educational institutions. The two-day training by the Anti-Sexual Harassment Action Project, ASHAP, of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology aims to heighten awareness of sexual harassment on campus and highlight signs of early detection of possible sexual assault and preventive measures. The ASHAP workshop, dubbed Trainer of Trainers, brought together students, professionals in academia, and experts in the subject matter. The Trainer of Trainers will equip participants to subsequently train student leaders and peer-to-peer mentors to periodically enable them to handle cases of sexual harassment effectively. Senior lecturer and project lead for the Anti-Sexual Harassment Project, ASHAP, KNUST, Dr. Mrs. Mercy Bedu, believes that students are unable to report sexual harassment issues due to limited information on available avenues.
KNUST has put together a sexual harassment policy document, and so as part of our project, we seek to advise the students and also to let them know what we have available on KNUST campus that they can use if they are victims, how they can be supported. So the support systems that we have here on campus, we are trying to enlighten them to have an idea what is there, how to report the cases, where to report the cases. They are there. The Directorate of Student Affairs is there. The Counseling Center is there. But it happens that the students are not able to speak. They don't know the kinds of help they will get when they speak. So this is an education forum that will help them understand.
President of the Women in Science, Technology, Engineering and Mathematics Ghana, Western Ghana, Professor Ibok Odru, asked stakeholders to facilitate the implementation of the various anti-harassment policies.
So today we are here with our stakeholders to make sure the message that this should stop comes to stay and enforced by all our stakeholders, to listen to it so that we can help others who are in it and be able to implement the policies we have as a people and as a nation.
Beneficiaries expressed delight at the knowledge gained from the workshop.
Most people have been abused and they don't have the courage to be able to speak about these things. But as a participant of this program, I've learned that we have to actually carry this message out there to tell our friends about it, that they should actually have the courage to be able to speak about such stuff.
The Anti-Sexual Harassment Action Project, ASHAP, KNUST, is an association of Commonwealth Universities sponsored project under the Martha Farrell Foundation project.
Let's wrap the news talking about health. And the Bono East Regional Director of Health, Dr. Fred Adomaku-Boateng, says the lack of accommodation facilities has led to the disproportionate distribution of health personnel, particularly doctors, to the various hospitals in his region. Dr. Boateng, who was speaking at the 2022 annual performance review meeting in Kintampo, said though the region saw 21 new doctors posted during the year under review, only 14 reported due to the unavailability of accommodation facilities in some districts. Anas Sabit, my colleague, now reports.
Observed under the theme, building structures for quality essential service delivery, preparedness and response for emerging and re-emerging diseases, the role of the community and strategic partnership, the Bono East Regional Health Directorate held its 2022 annual performance review meeting in the Kintampo North Municipality. The region saw its performance per the 2022 holistic assessment improving across certain key indicators, with the region seeing a massive improvement in its doctor-to-population ratio. Dr. Fred Adomaku-Boateng is the Bono East Regional Director of Health Services.
Ananache, Honorable, the doctor-to-population ratio improved from 1 doctor to 20,397 people in 2021 to 1 doctor to 9,101 people in 2022, as against a target of 1 doctor, 7,500 globally.
Though the region's doctor-to-population ratio has been improved generally, with 21 new doctors accepting posters to the area, the region continues to battle with equity in access to skilled delivery in the distribution of doctors.
Nana, we are still battling with geographical equity index, which worsened from 0.1 in 2021 to 0.04 in 2022. Nana, though the doctor-to-population ratio in Buno is improved as against the target, we still saw the challenges with equity index. So though in terms of numbers, we have done well, but in terms of distribution, we are still lagging. This is what we call starvation in the midst of plenty.
This, according to Dr. Fred Almak-Watson, is largely as a result of accommodation challenges, with only 14 out of 21 doctors reporting due to the lack of accommodation in some areas.
Nana, but I want to say there is hope. For the first time in the history of Buno East region, we had a record of 21 doctors willingly deciding to take posting to Buno East. But when push came to shove, only 14 doctors could report because of accommodation.
He therefore charged key stakeholders in the region to contribute towards supporting the Directorate with accommodation facilities to help address the situation.
And we are happy the traditional leaders are here. We are happy the political leaders are here. How do we address this? We as a service will continue to advocate for them to come. But what are we going to do as our role for the community and partners?
And on that note of health, we cap off the news. Stay with us. The news review brought to you by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. Up next.